Hey, folks, welcome to InTheMoneyStocks.com's live trading action video. My name is Gareth Soloway, Chief Market Strategist here. Today's date is Thursday, April 11th, 2019. So let's start off with Apple, folks. I called a top based on this trend line and this trend line getting in that range. You have a gap fill pivot point right there. Stock has actually done a good Fibonacci retrace at this point as well. And the key is a couple days ago we got a topping tail. And look at the price action. I love this price action because you can see how it's really starting to stall out. Yesterday you had a gap down and it kind of tried to rally back. Today it's getting slammed right back down. So this topping tail is holding like a champion right now. And again, it's not just a topping tail. Make sure you understand that. You know, a topping tail is great, but you really want a secondary factor for optimal trade performance. And in this situation, we hit this trend line right here, and we actually got very close to that upper one. So you have a ton of resistance plus the topping tail. Two things are better than one, as we all know, and that's why you're getting more pressure to the downside on Apple. A couple stocks I'm looking at, take a look at Intel. Intel is trying to push up here on the daily chart. What I'm focusing in on mostly is this double top right up here. You still have a little bit more upside potential, but if you get up to that double top, I will pull the trigger on a short trade on Intel as a swing and expect to pull back. That's a big level. Another double top that I'm keeping a close eye on is this Lowe's chart. So look at the big drop, and we're finally climbing back towards that double top. This is going to be huge resistance on Lowe's at a price point of around 117.5. So watch that very closely. We're at 115 now, so I mean one or two good up days on this, and you are going to have a golden opportunity to short Lowe's. I am long Yang, which is a 3 times short FXI. Let's look at the FXI chart here. And again, we are in the money here. Look at the drop on FXI. This is a beautiful thing. So we're coming into a little bit of support here. You have the 20 MA. I don't think this is done falling. The Chinese markets have rallied over 30% since the beginning of the year, far outpacing even the U.S. market. Massive move to the upside. Again, we got long the Yang, which essentially is short 3 times the FXI. So the downside today is paying us handsomely. If we look at the Yang here, YANG, you can see up about 5% on the day. So we're in the money about 5% on this trade or so, even a little bit more than that. And this, again, should have further upside. You can see the massive drop. I mean, this was above $70, and now here it is sitting. You know, we basically got in around $40 as it's having a nice move up here. So watch the Yang. I expect more weakness in the FXI, and we'll see about that in the coming days. A couple things I'm watching. I have an oil top that should be playing out here. We are seeing it down today, but again, you can see it push through the 200, which was kind of an extension move that I didn't necessarily expect, but you can see it stalling out up here. I mean, you know, oil now hitting 65 before today's pullback. It is problematic. You're going to have Trump pressuring Saudi Arabia to increase production to compensate for Venezuela and some of the other issues going on globally. And the U.S., again, has the ability to increase gasoline and oil production quite a bit as well. So, again, oil should pull back to about $57 a barrel. That would take the USO down significantly, probably to about 12 here in the short term, and that would be a beautiful pullback to the 50 moving average right here in this little pivot area. And see, this is what I'm looking at chart wise: pivot, 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 and then you got the 50 MA right there around 12. So that would be my expectation for the next couple weeks, a pullback on oil on the USO to about that $12 level. All right. So that's where we stand right now, folks, on the markets and across the board on the charts. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else I want to mention here today. There's some stocks moving today, but a couple that I was watching. One that we were looking for in the chat room, you can see very clearly here. You have CI Cigna hitting support today, but I'm not going to buy this. This would have been a day trade if it hit in the right way. It took too long for it to get there, so I passed on it. But you have a gap fill that I'm going to watch tomorrow at the 160, 150 level. So if this flushes another dollar tomorrow, or even today into the end of the day, but I don't expect it today. But if it flushes down to about 161 tomorrow, 161 and a half, I will be looking to play it off this little gap fill for just kind of an intraday bounce or maybe a one-day swing to look for a little bit of a bounce on that chart setup. Okay. Don't forget, we have earnings coming out in the next day or so. Tomorrow we have J.P. Morgan and I think Wells Fargo report tomorrow morning. Then you have Monday or I think it's Tuesday. You have Netflix reporting earnings or so. So that's going to be the first big tech name to report. That'll be really interesting. Netflix today is doing pretty well. trading up about $3 on the day. The big thing on Netflix is watch this trend line. So I have this trend line in there, pivot point, pivot point, pivot point, pivot point. As long as it stays above there, in all fairness, it could go up on earnings. But if by some chance in the next couple days it sells off and gets below this line, the stock is extremely vulnerable to downside. So what I would say to you is it's a 50-50 as long as it's above the line. So it could go up, 50% chance it goes up, 50% chance it goes down. If it gets below the line going into earnings, I would expect at least a $20 drop to the 200 moving average, right around 340 or just below 340 on earnings. That would be very bearish. It would show institutions which probably have a better idea about what the numbers are going to be. If they're dumping and they get below the support line, watch out below. All right. On that note, folks, I bid you farewell. Have a great one as always, and I will talk to you soon. Come join us at InTheMoneyStocks.com.